Everybody has days off or days that don't work better than most, but you got to grow through them and you got to get past them to get to the next opponent. The Chiefs get the Raiders, and it's time to get after. Welcome. This is RGR Football. Welcome in, friends. It's been a hectic day, and we know you guys are in for Monday Night Football and the Chiefs getting ready for a short week. It's a holiday week. Hope you guys are ready for Thanksgiving. This is Dan Harms. If you haven't seen him cooking on X yet, need to go check that out, Dan. You got anything cooking today?
You know, my daughter and I made an Indian dish. I can't remember the exact name. Really quickly, let me pull it up because I forget, Kahim or Kima, maybe? Kima? I can't remember exactly. If you guys know the pronunciation of that, my apologies. But it was awesome. She helped make it. It's like this beef. You could cook down a bunch of beef with Indian spices, seasoning, some onion, some tomatoes, and yogurt, and then you put it over rice. It was awesome. She helped out. She cooked the beef with me, and then I had to take over the seasoning because those cards that she gets, just they don't really know how to season properly. I'm the heavier handed seasoner, and it works better that way. So we just we kind of took it from there. But that's what we did today. And obviously you guys know it's Thanksgiving week, so there's going to be stuff unfolding. My wife handles the turkey, but I'm going to be making a couple of pies and probably some mac and cheese. So there's stuff going. There's stuff going.
Wow. Okay. Sounds like our roles are reversed in our households. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys are ready for it. This is your show. Welcome in RGR Football on a Monday night. That means Q&A. You guys provide the questions. We will provide the answers. Just get them into the chat. Every super chat gets an answer. No matter what tonight, we thank you guys very much for supporting the channel that way and supporting us by getting the gear, the RGR logo that Dan's wearing. You can get that all in the store and help us help you have fun with this football team that is infuriating. We know that it is, and we're ready to let you guys vent. So let's get after it. I have been tied up in a whole different sports world of people who do not know or care what's going on with the NFL today. But it gave me some time to reflect. And the more that I think about it, it's too much. If you saw Andy Reid's post-game talk to the team, like, yes, as we've been telling you for weeks and months, it is just about getting W's. Andy, he could have been on our show last night, to tell you the truth, because he said it perfectly. But there's always context around it. And it's now time, as I said on the thumbnail, for no more excuses. You got to start sorting this stuff out. Growing pains have to start solidifying. You're a week from December, folks. I hate to tell you. Figure it out. This has to be where they start to pour a little gas on the fire, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's funny because I read the piece from Nate Taylor, like the reflections of just after the game, and didn't feel like they won. It didn't feel that way, and there's a reason for that. And this is me. I'm not trying to give the Panthers disrespect. Okay, they played their asses off. They did. For 4 quarters, they played their asses off. And honestly, Dave Canales, Bryce Young played the best game of his entire career. I'm watching this back and just like, yo, he's making some throws. He made some absolute throws in that game. That was the Bryce Young that I think I expected to come out of Alabama. That was the guy that I was like, yeah, this is an NFL quarterback. And the Chiefs, everyone watching that game got to witness him in his best moment as an NFL player, which doesn't help take anything away from it, right? It just kind of is like, well, why does that have to happen? It happens because teams give you your best. They give the Chiefs their best. And I know it's such an awful thing to go back to. I hate it too. You guys heard me yesterday talking about it. It's no excuse, okay? But the fact of the matter is, these are NFL teams. Every week, you are lining up against the best of the best to ever come out, regardless of how they're viewed from a national perspective. And if you get every team's best, NFL best, it's going to be tough. It's just going to be tough. So Andy Reid's right. It's frustrating. It's hard to hang your head about it. We get to analyze it from an offshoot perspective. We're not responsible for making sure these guys are prepared for Friday. Like, that's not our responsibility. So we can have that separate the down moment from what you have to prepare for next week and say that this is unacceptable. That's the benefit that we have. And that's why when it feels like we're just dogging on them the whole time after a win. It's because we're allowed to do this.
We
The
have to.
coaching
That's our
staff,
job.
yeah, Ryan and I were actually talking about this a little bit after the stream yet last night. If you think for 1 second after the cameras off of them and they get on the plane that they aren't getting reamed out, that they aren't going over the tape and saying, this is where you were wrong, this is where you have to be. This is exactly what happens when those cameras shut off. But Andy Reid knows, with how open everything is right now, he's got to have a brave face. He has to make sure everyone keeps their head up, make sure everyone understands what's in front of them, and that another win is another win before the camera shut off and he says, hey, this is not okay. Like that's probably what happens afterward.
Yeah, you have to self-scout, they call it in the NFL, like a lot of other leagues. It's important to get that done. And when it comes down to it, understanding where your flaws are help you beat the other team to it. And if you take a look, I'm going to try to make this so it's reasonably sized. I do want to point out, for everything that we talk about with Patrick Mahomes, when you take a look, and for those of you that don't know advanced stats too much, EPA is expected points. How much is your player contribute to? And this Patrick is still nearly running at a 10 spot yesterday, despite missing some throws, despite missing some open routes. So it just tells you that that's how good the level is just to get wins in the NFL. And we have to sometimes remember that. And I certainly do too. I am as guilty as anyone else of having high expectations that maybe sometimes are a little bit over the top. So that's where we start this from. And we start it from, much like they do on the way home in the meeting room, trying to get down to the bottom of why you're not more dominant and how you're letting teams get closer and closer to you. Because let's be honest, nobody wants a loss this week. Nobody wants a close game this week because it's the Raiders, because it's Max. If nothing else, because it's Max. They get a couple of cushions. We're going to talk about them in the game plan later in the week that we'll have to record a little bit ahead of time because of the holiday. But it looks like it's going to be Des Ritter. We've had up and down feelings about him.
Donald did get practice in today, and if he's ready to go, he's going to be the starting quarterback from what I understand.
Okay, I did not see that update, so that's good to know as well. But either way, that's not a great choice if you're a Raider fan. So the Chiefs have to get
Desmond Ritter.
So this is no excuses anymore. You got to get it done. Steve, thanks for our first question. Do we have any practice squad players who could hold their own if called up to play right now? I think there's several. Who would you like to start with?
We've right now, like calling up, I'd like to see Darius Rush, but the problem with that is you don't have you have Keith Taylor on your roster. He's on your roster. So no, he was, Keith Taylor was a practice squad guy. I'd like to see him get in a little bit, but I'm going to say right now that Najee Johnson's playing better, and better. He's getting confidence. He's getting his legs under him. He's playing better football. I'm watching the tape right now. I'm still in the first quarter. Today's been much like Ryan, but for me has been just football work. I have been video making, editing, writing articles. I've been grocery shopping. It has been an absolute day for me. So I haven't gotten around to the film. And plus, this one's off of school. So it's just trying to make sure that all of that stuff is dealt with while also making sure that she's not the most bored child in the world. Are you ready for bed? Thank you. Good night, sweetheart.
So not cute about it.
I know, right? Too bad she's not cute about it. So I'd like to see Keith Taylor play a little bit, but they're not even rotating in guys like CRW enough in the rotation right now. So, I mean, we know BJ Thompson's probably not going to be playing. So you can't really put him out there. Off the top of my head, I don't really have anybody else. Who do you got?
They did elevate Montreal Washington at one point. I feel like Hardman's giving you good looks. You could go to that. If they feel there's been progress at the cornerback spot for Nick Jones, possibly. But as you said, they're not playing Keith Taylor yet. They're not playing CRW enough. They're not playing Cam Thomas, too much to my chagrin, on the 53, but on the inactive list this entire season. Doesn't make any sense to me. Time to start adding some of those guys in. And before we go too much further, I do want to give a shout out to all of you coaches that I met today in another sport that I don't coach. I appreciate you taking the time and doing the evaluations for the kids that want to play at the next level. And we personally appreciate your time. Probably only one or two of them even know that this channel exists. So if they happen upon it, I just wanted to get that out there. Appreciate you all. Uh, let's see. Love the show. Hot take. Mahomes will finish this year with 38 touchdowns and 4,300 yards. He currently has 18 and 2,600. Thoughts? Whoo, swag boy. I mean, we're getting down to the wire. He's going to have to light it up. We're talking what, a 350, 360 yard average to get there in games remaining. Is that right?
I think you're right about that. That's a lot, right? You've got how many? What is it? Week 12 now. You've got 6 weeks left. The Chiefs have 6 games remaining. I could see. I realistically could see the 38 touchdowns. He's been, I believe, a 12-3 pace the last month or so. So that gets you close. It gets you real close to that number. So that's probably more realistic than the 4,300 yards. I think getting to 4,000 is probably what you're looking for. And just because that helps you sustain what he's been doing lately, which is playing really good football outside of maybe some execution issues against Buffalo.
It would have to be an all-out blitz, so to speak. I don't know that they're ready to do that because of what they're having trouble-wise in protection. So I'm going to take the under on that, but it is close. And if they do light it up, like we've seen them turn it on in years past, you could definitely be in the ballpark. Swag, I appreciate you. Tom, nice to see you. Ravens or Chargers tonight? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the Chargers take this one.
I don't believe that their defense is ready for it. I love Jesse Minter, what he's done this year for that defense. They're kind of all over the place. You're getting really good play out of Dan Henley, who I loved coming out of Washington State, former Nevada product, playing safety, then linebacker. He's doing a lot of good things for them right now. Tuli Tuipulotu has been fantastic. I just think right now that Lamar Jackson in that game, that run game is going to be too much for them, and I think the Ravens are going to take this one.
Okay. Well, I'll bet you a beer on it. So there we go.
I already owe you a beer from the Kansas one. So sure,
there is
let's
that.
do it. Next time we meet up, we'll have a couple of toasties.
Double or nothing. Swag, do you think the Eagles are a threat to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl if the Chiefs make it? I think it's a bigger if the Eagles make it, to tell you the truth. Don't let last night fool you. I am not convinced that there's somebody that can run the table through the NFC playoffs. Are you?
Yeah, I think that the NFC is going to be more tough. It's going to be more difficult. The Chiefs typically are going to have, I think the Ravens and the Bills are both very good teams. And I think they're going to give them a run. I think the Bills probably, as we've seen, match up better against the Chiefs in the postseason than the Ravens do. I think that defense, you can get that defense. And what we've seen from the Bills is that no matter who's out there, they're very well structured. They play the Chiefs very well. I think that they have an easier path to the Super Bowl than the Eagles do because the Lions exist, and the Lions are maybe the best team in football right now, not named Kansas City. And the Eagles, I'll give it to them. They've been playing really, really good. And yes, I do believe that if the Eagles are in the Chiefs meet in the Super Bowl, based off what they do in the trenches, they're absolutely a threat, especially with the way this offensive line has played at the tackle position. Brandon Graham's a huge loss for them. He has been turning the clock back this year. I don't know if you guys have watched Brandon Graham on that defensive line. He was just abusing the Rams last night before he got hurt, and he's done for the season. So that's going to be a big loss for them. But the interior, the trenches on both sides are playing so well. And then you add on the back end for their defense, Quinyon Mitchell is playing great football. Cooper DeJean's come in, and he's been an excellent player. So they have the tools to make it very tough on Kansas City, no matter what level of football they're playing.
I'm with you. It should be interesting, but nothing is assured, and that's the way that I will put it. I would love to tell you that something was, but that's just not the way that it works at this point. Chris, how much money is Karlaftis costing himself with his play this season? Well, not anything yet. Got to remember he's a first-round pick, so this is year 3 of what is effectively, with the 5th-round option, a 5-year contract. So I don't know what the escalator is to take that 5th year, but he's been productive enough. There's no way the Chiefs don't take his 5th year option. So that locks up his salary at a given level. The question will be what happens the year following. And that will mostly, I think, be prevalent and based upon what happens next season. So he's got to light a little bit of a fire, but I don't think he's cost himself anything yet. Do you?
Not yet. It's how the season finishes and how he plays next year. If he continues to play this level of play next year, I don't even know if they'll take the 5th year option. Honestly, I don't know. It's a first round play, pick, but you need to get more out of him as a pass rusher. Yes, it's fine to have him and Mike Dana as good run stoppers and essentially cleanup men. I don't know, man. I don't think if he plays next year the way he's playing this year that he's going to get anything more in Kansas City outside of the 5th-year extension.
I'll take the flip side of that coin. Unless FAU turns into a beast, they don't have a choice because they are left without edge rushers out there, to tell you the truth. Uche's getting older. I know he's a younger guy, but he's still getting older. Cam's getting like
well, he's not going to be here next year anyway. Like Uche's a 1 year.
Probably not.
Bye.
Right. I mean, you never know what a Super Bowl run will do for you, but yeah, exactly. Not under contract current. So we will see. Kyle, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the support, buddy. Sorry if I already covered. Seems like recent commentary is leaning into the Chiefs get all the calls narrative. More comments about who gets helped and calls keep drives alive is annoying. I agree that it's annoying. I don't get into any of that because refs are human. They make as many mistakes against the Chiefs as they do for the Chiefs, to tell you the truth. And I outlined that a few weeks ago in stuff that they could have called and just ignore. Honestly, Chiefs receivers get beat up more physically than they should most weeks, in my opinion. Do you see something different?
No, you're right. They do. They get held, they get pulled just because they know that most of the time that no one's going to really call it, especially against the Chiefs. Like they don't call. And honestly, at the NFL level, sometimes they play like it's still in college. There's no legal contact in college. You can pretty much do what you want to, and they don't call it. So it almost feels like right now you're seeing the NFL play the Chiefs like they were in college, and they're getting held through their routes. They're getting bumped off their spots all the time, past 5 yards down the field. So no, I mean, we all know that it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I've said it all year. Penalties come out in the wash for the most part. They just do on both sides of the football. Again, both teams had like 9 accepted penalties yesterday. The yardage was different because of a big one against Jamari Connor. Okay. So at the end of the day, watch the game. There's some things missed on both sides. There's some things called on both sides that weren't really there.
I think you could probably call both teams on every single play of a ball game. And if you really were looking that close. Ozzy, nice to see you. Why can't our offense and defense play well at the same time? Why can't we have nice things? But for real, the biggest difference that you've seen on the outside of Watson that has regressed. I think I know where you'll go, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it's the obvious answer. They cannot rush the passer with 4 people. They can't get home. They can't even create pressure. And it's the biggest common denominator from this team as of the last month and a half, 2 months. There's just nobody that can do anything outside of Chris Jones. And even when he's getting off the ball quickly, he's getting double teamed. And he's not going to beat a double team every single time. And no one else is helping. They aren't. So, I mean, Tershawn Wharton had a really great start to the season. Where is he gone? Where is he gone? He's disappeared into the back. Nobody on the defensive line outside of him is doing anything. So that's the biggest reason that they are not able to do much defensively, because like I said, I think Najee Johnson's playing well. I think that I'll say he's playing better.
He is playing better.
But you're getting a lot of these situations where teams even they understand now more when you're going to blitz. And they just pick it up. Like they know it's coming. Like, fine, we'll just pick it up. And if we aren't going to pick all 7 guys up, I know exactly where to go with football, because you got Brian Cook on man coverage or Jamar Connor in man coverage. And I'm just going to throw it.
I'll tell you this too. The thing that I have noticed of late is that we got a little bit spoiled, I think, in everybody else's role in the secondary last year, because let's be honest, this team drafts, recruits, signs man talent in the secondary. You want to be physical. You want to be in close contact. When they're left to play deep zones or particularly over middle zones where you have to recognize, put your foot in the ground and come downhill, they're late a lot. It's just not their thing. It is the other style of defense that they're all learning to play. And so I do think that has been very relevant to me this season. Although I will say this, it's better that than some of the man things that they've been tasked with that they're not capable of doing. You can learn to read faster and react faster in zone than you can stay in phase in man. So there are some advantages to it. We'll see how they continue to progress.
Just real quick here. There is a big reason why sacks are not the most important thing, Scott. I understand. It's not a narrative. It's a fact. He is the number one pressure-getting defensive tackle in the NFL. He's got the highest pass production win rate in the NFL, or a pass rush win rate in the NFL. He's got the best, I believe, defeating double team rate in the NFL as a defense tackle. It's not narrative, but sacks are not sticky. Sacks do not happen every single year. And when you don't have anybody that helps you, you're not going to get home every single time. And multiple times we've seen Chris Jones get in the backfield and quarterbacks be able to, guess what, step up and away, and there's nobody there to finish the playoff. So it's not a narrative. It's just a fact. And without Chris Jones, I want you guys to think about what this defensive line would be without him on the team.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there.
It does have to be a front. Think literally of an arrowhead. Chris is the tip. And if you miss with the tip, somebody else on the periphery has to make up for that. And that's where it's lacking right now. I will also say that there is some, I feel, some substantial evidence that as good as the players are in their roles, the athleticism at the linebacker level is starting to show its lack of a Willie Gay. So for those of you that are harping on Willie not being here, I totally get it. Raiders practice week getting ready for the playoffs. They're not going to push you, so I don't know. It's more like practice of not screwing yourself is what it is.
Aiden O'Connell led bad offense, still won last week. I know they last year. I know they needed defensive touchdowns. It was Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. Not like he did anything, but just don't overlook them. Just
you got to play the damn game. I mean, again, you got to smash the teams you're supposed to smash. So get off your butt and do it. Mr. Pennsylvania, is it impossible for them to not have Taylor play? For the love of God, he's horrible. He's not horrible. He's streaky. In my mind, Jawan Taylor is streaky. If he starts having a bad game or if he starts getting bad calls, he doesn't know how to stop it. He gets on a rut. And that, unfortunately, you get those games where he's either not making any noise at all, which is a good thing for an offensive lineman, or you get those ones where it's like every 5 seconds something's going wrong for him. So I won't say he's horrible, but no, they cannot afford for him not to play. Quite frankly, they might flip him over to left before the season's over if they don't figure something out. I don't know.
All I can say about this is that he's not worth the money they paid him.
Fair.
That's all it is.
Those are two different things, though.
Yeah, he's not bad. The problem is that he's not the level of player that they thought he was going to be when they signed him. And that's the risk you make. You take that risk. Frank Clark was not the level of player that they signed either for that level of money. The main difference is that in the postseason, Frank Clark had a common denominator of being able to up his game. And he was a motivator. He made everybody around him come ready to play. Jawan Taylor is not saying a word.
What are your guys' input on Arrowhead Live? Do you find them a reliable source? I don't know anyone there. So unless they know somebody that I don't, I would not. My guess is that it's secondhand information from somebody who actually knows. Nothing against them, but I don't know where they get their information.
I don't know. Spencer Schrader was, I believe, in doing press conferences either today or yesterday, like one of the two things. Typically, if someone's got an injury, they're not up on the podium. That doesn't typically happen. And this is someone who doesn't have any sources, doesn't have any information about anything. It's just a common theme that I've seen. But best thing to do is wait until it's reported by somebody reliable, because they're not a reliable source. They're just not. They're a Twitter page that's what they founded themselves on. And Ryan's right. He probably knows somebody who knows somebody, and that's okay. Oftentimes, you can sometimes get reliable information from that. So just wait until it's reported by somebody and then act on it.
Yeah, just to confirm, like, I will never tell you guys something if I only hear it from one source. I have lots of sources that know somebody who knows somebody. I don't have a lot of direct into the building anymore, and that's unfortunately why I don't tell you things ahead of time unless I know them. So I would say take it with a grain of salt. It's like getting a sloppy strike in bowling. It's still an X on the scoreboard.
You know, Justin, I have a lot of experience with this. I am an avid bowler. The difference being you have to get it close. You have to get it close. Sometimes it goes through the nose. Okay, there are two pockets. One on the right side of the head pin, one on the left side of the head pin. Sometimes, yeah, it cuts through the nose and it all kind of spills. The one time that it goes off on like one of the sides and hits the 6 or the 4, and then it backs up, those are the strikes that we're seeing in Kansas City right now, in my opinion. You're not executing right. You're not even hitting where you're supposed to, and it just kind of falls over. You're just like, oh, okay. The spilling strike is fine. But you don't want those sloppy ones.
I don't have a damn clue about any words that you just said. I got nothing. Joe, did Chiefs make a mistake not trading up for LT in 2024? Chiefs had not had decent left tackle play since Fisher. I do believe people do romanticize the Fisher days just a little bit. I'm just saying. Did they make a mistake not trading up for LT? No, because they tried. They were working to do so. Mims was, I believe, the first target that they tried to go after. It's hard when you are a back-to-back champion to get people to give you any kind of advantage to get another premium player. So, Joe, I won't say that they made a mistake. They were unsuccessful, but as I understand, they made multiple attempts to go up and get more talent, and it just wasn't able to be done. And then when X fell there and all their guys are off the board, you take the guy with the higher grade, especially if you have one or two major needs. You take one of them and you take it off your board. So I can't really fault them.
I want to stress how important it is that everyone understand how difficult it is to play tackle in the NFL. How often that top 10 draft picks at tackle don't work out. Look at Evan Neal out of Alabama is a bum.
Look at Icky.
Yeah, Icky Ekwonu, top 5 players. They don't always work out. And this is not even me saying that he's not going to work out. It's right. 1 year. He's 20 years old. Like 21 years old. He's got to develop. And I agree that people do romanticize they got to the end point with Eric Fisher and they said, this is what it is. He was not good for the first 4 years of his career. Eric Fisher developed. He was one of the most raw prospects to ever go in the first round at tackle, in my opinion. Ever. Yeah. Technique. He was a guy out there that was like a former tight end almost that just, I'm going to play tackle now. That's what I'm going to do.
Hey, this looks fun.
It takes time. Don't give up on him until it's maybe year 4 and he's still not there. How often do we see year 2, year 3 leaps from these players? It happens all the time. And even if he's never an elite tackle, what if he's serviceable? Second round picks becoming Eric Fisher didn't get to be like a top 10 tackle until his last 2 or 3 years in the league. It took a long time. So just give him some time. 21 years old. 21. What were you guys doing at 21 years old?
You don't want to know what I was doing. I will not say that in public. Mike, thank you. Appreciate you. Swag Boy, do you think getting the 1 seed is critical to going to the Super Bowl this year? This team needs rest. I do think more this season than past seasons. It is that much more important. Is it impossible without it? No, but it is more important because you're right. That early bye is definitely messing with them at this point, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You might see them get 2 weeks off if they lock off the 1 seed. You might see a lot of the starters get week 18 and the bye week. Just that rest could legitimately win them the Super Bowl. I'm not even joking about this. That's real.
It could be the difference very easily. Who's getting cut this week for Pop and Amenahue? I believe they have 1 open slot, if I remember correctly. And so the last guy on the roster, I don't know. Nobody's coming for CEH. If you cut him, you can get him back on the practice squad real easy. And take your time letting him get back up to speed. He says he feels good physically. So when he's ready, I don't know. That might be an option.
Probably going to be Cam Thomas and Keith Taylor.
Shut up.
Cam Thomas is not playing. They brought in Charles Menu's coming back. They brought in Josh Uche. Like he's literally just not happening.
Not hearing you. I am not listening. Gary, nice to see you, buddy. Give Gary a hand. One of our moderators around here runs the show. Will Highwood and Pacheco be back next week or back for the playoffs? I think Pacheco's close. I think Hollywood is a playoff return.
Agreed. I think
Okay.
I personally think Pacheco plays this week. It wouldn't
Hmm.
shock me if they held him out though. Just another week.
Short week and all. Yeah. Fair enough. Scuba, I'm tired of these C game BS games. I'm totally with you. Why can't we have an A game in the regular season? It's getting to me, but I can't complain because they're so good. Still 10-1. Better see it in the playoffs. Absolutely. The only risk that you're running right now is that you're artificially lowering your floor right now because you're playing down to your competition. You have to then jump higher and kick it up harder when you get to the playoffs than maybe you've had to do in last seasons.
That's why it's dangerous to play this game. The ramp up can be a problem because maybe you don't ramp up. Maybe you get there and you're like, "Oh, we can't do that." So that's why it needs to start. That's why Ryan was saying at the beginning, it's already almost December. The ramp up needs to start. You need to start seeing, I'll give the offense this. It ramped up yesterday. It ramped up. The defense did not. The offense did. I'm telling you guys, we're gonna get to Xavier questions here in a little bit. He is responsible for the Noah Gray touchdown. He's responsible for it. He's the reason that him and Justin Watson were just over here, 4 guys to 2 players, and Noah Gray's like, hi everybody, I'm wide open. No one cares about me. Yeah. So yeah, he's doing a good job.
Next thing you know, Noah's going to be doing this in the end zone. And Scuba, thank you, buddy. 9 months back in the memberships. It's been a while, and I know that you're always helping people out with memberships. Cheers to you, pal. I don't understand. I'm sorry, Green. Thank you for the support. Don't understand them not trying to blow out opponents. It puts wear on the players and increases injury for Pat. I agree with you in principle. They don't see it that way, though. They feel like, you know what, if we just run our medium tempo stuff, we don't get out of sorts and we're not pushing anything, they're going to be fine. I think that's what's in the back of Andy Reid's head. And honestly, he's coached more games than I've even watched. So what am I going to say?
I'm gonna put this in perspective for you guys. I talked about it on the Bleacher Report app today. Think about after the post Super Bowl conversation. Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Everyone's like, the 49ers, here we go. This is their year. They're going all in. They're going to put the money into Brandon Ayuk. They're bringing the offense back. Christian McCaffrey's here. Both teams have suffered injuries. A lot of them. Christian McCaffrey just came back. Trent Williams is dealing with injuries. You've got George Kittle dealing with injuries. They lost Brandon Ayuk. Chiefs lost Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown. They've had multiple injuries. Lost Jalen Watson. You want to know the difference? This. Chiefs grind out these wins. They're 10-1. The 49ers are in danger of not even making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Those are the two differences. How you respond, and again, I know we all want to see a blowout to take some pressure off of this team. I don't know how you can argue so much with the 10-1 versus the 5-6 that is the San Francisco 49ers at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Appreciate you, Green.
I hate having to answer these questions. It drives me nuts.
I know. He's trying to figure stuff out. By the way, guys, this is something new that I found at Total Wine. It's got like the same label feel as Boulevard. It almost looks exactly the same. It's called Everything Nice from Omen Gang. This is in New York. This is fantastic. If you guys can find this, there's nice spices. It's 9% alcohol, so it hits you pretty fast, and it's pretty good. It's a blonde ale.
For those of you that like Belgian beer, that is the premier American Belgian style brewery left. Kudos to Spencer. I wish you guys were still around. I loved your double in particular, but cheers. Absolutely love those close games. Much better than watching boring blowouts. Look at last year. The Ravens blew every one of them and then choked when things got tight. Kevin, you bring a nice perspective to this. They are learning how to be uncomfortable right now. And that is something when you get to the playoffs and it's cold and they're hitting the hell out of you. Like, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I tell my kids this all the time. It's a life lesson. Stuff is not going to go your way all the time. You got to be able to deal with it.
I didn't show everybody. And appreciate you, Kevin. I like that. But I didn't show everyone the Darth Vader that I have now. So we've got the Death Star, obviously the X-Wing down here, but now we've got Darth Vader on the back. This is we're working pretty nice over here with the
You
tattoo.
are.
So
You're pushing super fan territory, brother. I hate to tell you.
I am a super fan. I am.
Okay. Well, hey, then we're there for it. Oregon, they're hiding Cam Ryan. He'll suddenly get playing time in the playoffs. I certainly hope so, because if he doesn't, Dan is never going to let me forget it, and I'm going to feel pretty dumb for pushing him all this time. But quite honestly, the guy still produced in the last 2 years in Arizona, of all things. It makes no sense to me unless he's just had a complete brain meltdown and can't learn.
Charles Omenihu coming back cements him not playing at all this season. He won't. I'll say it right now.
You are my
Cam
personal thundercloud right now.
I'm sorry. Cam Thomas will be cut when Charles Omenihu comes back.
Stop
After
it.
you add Uche and bring him back, it makes sense. It just does. Too many bodies.
Stop it. Fun fact: Ryan's the best lawn darts coach this side of the Mississippi. Oh, buddy, I hate to tell you, I call them javelins. So yeah, there's no wings on them. You're trying to hurt somebody. That's the way I play that game. What's your top first or second realistic draft crushes this upcoming year, Nathan? Great question, and thank you for asking it. Dan is the one who is ready for this because I am not. There's
so many things to talk about, guys. I'm still at the point right now where I want them to draft a running back. There's a lot. There's so many talented running backs. We talked last night about Devin Neal being in Kansas City. I'd love that. There's a ton of running backs that Caleb Johnson is another really good player. He's got such great footwork out of Iowa. Kind of came out of nowhere this year. No one really knew what he was about, but I love the way he plays, and the fact that he plays that style of football at Iowa translates to the NFL. We know that. On the flip side, I think they need to reinvest in corner. It's not working out with Josh Williams. I think you pretty much cut loose ends there. Outside of the depth, you might want to look at maybe a second-round pick, Tacario Davis out of Arizona. Big, physical type of corner that they like to play. He'll come down support in the run game. He doesn't have the best hip twitch to turn stuff like that, but they don't really ask players to do that in Kansas City. Just turn and run, make play on the football. Linebackers, not Luther Burden.
That guy.
Luther Burden would be fun in Kansas City, but I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of him. He rubs me the wrong way, and I don't. Lander Barton is the linebacker that I'm talking about. He's plays at Utah. He has a lot of athletic ability. He's a legacy player at Utah. Both his mom and dad and his brother played there. He's got athletic upside, coverage ability. Utah sends him on a ton of blitzes. I don't like that. I like to see him in coverage more to get that experience, but he's a very good run defender. He sees things coming. I think they're going to reinvest in linebacker as well. This is a good linebacker group as well. It's kind of underrated at this point.
Especially if you have guys that are more on the athletic side. You don't need thumpers anymore in this league. You need guys that can get out and cover. You need somebody that can push to do things like Willie could. What, do you disagree?
No, I'm seeing some stuff like that doesn't make any sense in the comments. That's all.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Nathan.
8 months. Appreciate you, buddy. Very much appreciate you, Casey. Am I wrong for being happy for Justin Herbert? I don't think you're wrong. I mean, he's a solid kid. If he didn't play in the AFC West, I'd root for him. You know what I mean? I liked him at the Senior Bowl, the year that everybody was giving him hell for not being a leader. Well, guess what? He's turned into a guy that has his way of leading. So you are not wrong to be happy for Justin Herbert, in my opinion.
No, I think it's great. And to be very honest with you, he's kind of been unlocked. He's running a bit more. He seems happy. And that's the big thing. I just want to see NFL players happy. I don't really care who they play for. And at this point, I've gotten over. I know you guys, I'm never going to tell you to stop hating on division rivals ever. Never stop doing that. Be the best fans you can be. I love seeing good players get what they deserve. I love it. And real quick before we go here, yes, I am talking about you, Chef Boy. These make no sense. They're two drastically different players. And yes, they didn't work out with Josh Williams, and McDuffie's not without blame. No one said that. Not even a little bit. No one said that. No. But one has an all-pro season under his belt, and one got benched for Najee Johnson. I'm just saying. But I appreciate you being in here and commenting and given us something to talk about. I appreciate you.
Those are the differences for sure. Okay, so I know how I feel, but you seem to be, let's say, more realistic when it comes to the running back crew. Coos wants to know, Devin Neal to KC, what do you like about the fit and what round?
He's a perfect complement to Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco was a run your face off downhill and keep going kind of player. And Devin Neal has nuance, feel, like speed variety. He can play with his vision. He's got really good footwork. He's a bit small. Problem there is that you're not going to get the pass protection that, I mean, hell, Isaiah Pacheco doesn't even give you as much as you'd like, but he's gotten a lot better. But Devin Neal's a bit smaller, but he has real pass catching ability and he can run wheel routes. He can go downfield. He can do things like that. So overall, I think that Devin Neal complements what you see from Isaiah Pacheco well in the sense that he's got that space feel. He doesn't have to, he can get to the line of scrimmage. He can press, he can pop, he can do some lateral agility, things like that. So, and round is probably going to be closer to fourth or third. I think that's probably where you see Devin Neal go, especially if he plays like the fact that he had this on senior night before the season ended and he's going to test well. It's fresh in people's heads.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they make a bowl game, his bowl game performance will probably have a little bit more impact because, again, it will freshen it yet again against more competition, but we'll see. When you do it against, 3 big-time ranked opponents in a row, it opens some eyes. So he's playing himself out of Kansas City, unfortunately for me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Kyle, my previous comments were in reference to in-game commentary leaning into the Chiefs get all the calls. Oh, I get you. When the commentators highlight penalties at the Chiefs, that is irritating. I completely agree with you.
Charles Davis is awful. He's awful. He's one of the worst out there that gets like a primetime game. All he did was talk crap the whole game. I couldn't stand it.
Man, I honestly, I just don't listen.
I know.
I
have my wife and my daughter that watch and they want to know, specifically Avery when she's watching, like they like the sound. Not having sound is not a great thing to have. So we do, but my wife's starting to pick up on dumb stuff they say too. So we're all learning together.
See, most of the time I can watch the specialist. My wife watches the lines and she'll call out stuff that I miss. I don't need Charles Davis. Thank you very damn much. Piss off. Pass rush has been bad. DBs can't hold up that long. K-Wiz, you're not wrong. They are two sides of that pressure package. You have to be able to hold up long enough to let them get some work done, and you got to get some work done fast enough so you don't put your DBs at risk. It is a two-pronged attack. So we're totally with you, and we do see the same thing. Kyle, thank you, buddy. Chiefs tackles and secondary lacking. Jalen Watson has had been exposed the last 2 weeks. Jalen Watson hasn't been in. He's been off the field. How do they overcome that in the playoffs? Well, I still hold out hope that there is a possibility that either someone steps up or you could get Jalen back. Jalen seems to be the only other person that thinks that that's possible. So, it seems unlikely at this point that he and I are the last two holdouts, but never count a player out. If they can get him back, it'll be tough because he'll have to play into shape again. That's going to be the problem. I would rather, as Dan has mentioned, see them get CRW more reps. He did get exposed. He is a rookie, and he does have a couple of holes in his game that he has to work on. He's not going to get better unless you play him. So play him.
Agreed. Like we know at this point what Shamari Connor is offering you at slot. We know it. We've seen it. I said it before the season. Like he is a big slot. He can't cover these guys. I didn't understand how it was so hard to see that. And we've seen it get exposed multiple times. So just give some of the younger guys that have those qualities. He made the roster for a reason. This wasn't just a special teams thing. He offers something. And I think we've seen that already, honestly, a little bit against the 49ers and in spots from that since then. So hopefully, I think Najee Johnson, again, is going to get a little bit better. But he's coming off an injury too. We have to remember that. Like it's not going to be 100% back until next year. So take everything with a grain of salt with Najee Johnson and hope that it can get some more pressure to help the DBs a little bit more.
Knock on wood. I would rather attack first and cover later. That's always my philosophy. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you. Chef Boy, thank you again. So everything is the tackle's fault. No, but it's the first domino to fall every damn play. That leads to Patrick rushing. That leads to wide receivers not getting to where they need to be in the route because the pressure's in the face. And it is the most glaring weakness right now. Earlier in the season, you would say it was the wide receiver play, right? D-Hop has shored that up. Juju has shored that up. You guys, those two guys in particular can get open against zone and know where to be. You got to get Pat the ball enough to do it. And honestly, Pat looks a little nervous right now, a little flaky, even when the pocket is still okay because of what's happened so far.
Yeah, Patrick's to blame too for some of the sacks. You don't have the pressure rate that he has that's relatively the same as last year and have almost double the sacks. You just don't. So he's to blame for some of these too. It's not just the tackles. It's in conjunction with maybe Patrick trying to either wait some of these routes out because they are trying to throw the ball downfield more and they don't necessarily have the quick game or the hot route options, or he's passing those up because he's done that too and taken sacks. Or yesterday where instead of throwing the ball away on that second down that made it 3rd and 12, he goes down for no reason and does not and just takes a sack. Like that's just not a good play.
Yeah, agreed. Unfortunately, and I say this with all due kindness, Bryce Young was the better hot route thrower yesterday.
Oh, he was.
Let's be real.
He knew exactly where to go when he was pressured every time.
Absolutely. And they came at him like 40% of the time. So if it's not working, change it up. Don't keep giving him the same looks that you know he has now been able to deal with. Wonder when Pop comes in and we lean on the run with the ball more. That may take pressure off of the tackles by tiring the defense. Absolutely. That's one of the jobs of the run game. And they've done a better job ticking it up. I think they did hit a wall. I don't know how you feel, Dan, with overworking Kareem a little bit. So now if you get Pops back and you have a 1-2 punch, I mean, you could do what KU just did. They shocked the world. So, hey, I'm ready. If you tell me that we can grind down 45 runs against Max and the Raiders, I am all for this all day long, every day.
Yeah, I think we saw early on that Kareem Hunt was fresh. He was fresh, and he could handle a heavy workload, and they ran the ball. I also think his processing is slowing down a little bit too. He's handling the ball so much, and his body is tired that he's not making the quick decisions that he was early. He's missed a couple of holes, a couple of cutback lanes. And also, again, it's repetitive. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And defenses are like, hey, they can't run to the edge. So we're just going to muddy up the middle. Why not just keep doing that? And it makes the run game less effective and less efficient. Therefore, not really helping the tackles out at all because it doesn't really affect them at all. It only impacts the interior.
Let's hope that they can get to the edge a little bit more. I want to see old school off tackle. I do want to see the pitch game come back in.
I want to see weak zone. I don't know about you guys. I want to see weak zone. They don't ever run weak zone, and it's effective. You get the team going one way, and guess what? We're going to go the other way. Like,
they haven't run counter. Have you seen a good counter in the last couple of weeks either? Because I haven't.
No, they tried against the Panthers. Didn't work because Kareem Hunt can't. He can't
cut enough.
Yeah, he doesn't threaten the defense.
Cody, hope you're doing well, buddy. Also, we need to talk about the fact that Xavier Worthy is how young he is. He turned 21 after he was drafted. Absolutely. And as we said last night, like he's approaching the point where things started to click for Rashee Rice. So he doesn't have to be the same as Rashee, but this is about the time where things in this offense start to like settle down where you can wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, folks.
You know, the simple fact that he's done what he has so far for this role that he's asked to play. Again, it's a role. It's not what Brian Thomas is asked to do in Jacksonville. It's not what Malik Neighbors is asked to do. It's not what Marvin Harrison Jr. is asked to do because there's nothing like that in Kansas City except Travis Kelce. That's what it is. And when Rashee Rice was healthy, it was Rashee Rice because he's the guy in that wide receiver room, but he's hurt. So now things are different. And Xavier really had to do more. And I think that yesterday, if you watch not just the gravity that he caused, he was better in timing on his catches, on his routes, things like that. So
I'm 100% with you. Like it's about to the point where it could really, really start to click. And that's what I'm honestly waiting for.
Tom, I appreciate you. I'm gonna get you right here, and then I got something else to put up. Hey guys, who do we want to win tonight? Thoughts? We did kind of cover this, but who want to win? I think that the Ravens are going to win. They're down 7-0 right now, But since it's not division, I would also want the Ravens to win. What do you think?
I want the Chargers to win because I want them to beat up the Ravens.
That's fair.
I know the Chiefs can beat the Chargers. They do not scare me. If you let Lamar like get Super Lamar status in like Super Mario and he just blows up, like he scares me still. So I want them to have to fight through a couple more teams before the Chiefs have to play.
Okay, that's entirely fair. Thank you, Tom, very much for that. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying it. But yes, Quentin, I just want everything. I want it all. I want them to do everything. With Isaiah Pacheco, yes, running more power makes a ton of sense. A ton of sense. Kareem Hunt, not so much. He's a zone inside guy. Maybe a little bit of they do single back power. That's fine. No, I want to vary it. That's all. That's all I'm asking for. And yes, I asked them to run more power. They did, and Isaiah Pacheco did a good job doing that, and he's going to do a good job with that as well. But just you're right. I want too much, but I do. I want a varied, diversified run game. I just do.
Yeah, don't blame me. I want the full backfield like we saw yesterday for more than one play. I'm here for it.
Sorry, had to take over for a second there.
Yes,
Minotaur, what's going on? Thank you for the 39 months. Hey guys, good to see you. I was going to ask if you could get some Devin Neal film hype this offseason, but seeing Dan already pretty much solidified that yesterday, dude. I did an article. You guys want to check it out on the Draft Network? I watched that game. He's been fantastic. I put an article up to this morning actually and retweeted it on Twitter. So just he's so much fun. Like, and he kind of got lost in the wayside a little bit because of other players that were stepping up and having better seasons. And Kansas starting 1-5 did not help the situation after there was so much hype around them getting ranked early on. And honestly, that defense played so good. It was fantastic going back and watching that game. So yeah, I think Devin Neal's real fun. Real fun.
Rock chalk.
How's your throat doing, man?
I'm fading fast, so
yeah. Cody,
after you.
Well, we'll speed through. We got some things to get through here, some super chats, and 9 minutes to get you guys on out of here. Cody, what's going on, man? Thanks for the 31 months. Good to see you. New LT got to be an improvement. Maybe. We're all hoping.
He's got to be if he's going to play.
Yeah, right. Hopefully. If he's healthy, good to go. Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of improvement. And I'll say it again. If Wanya Morris had not played so poorly yesterday, I don't think this is a conversation yet. But it is because he had a pretty rough game. So that is what it is. It's a situation that the Chiefs are monitoring. And obviously they were monitoring it early because they put him out there. So, and then they signed him. So, yeah, thank you very much, man, for the 31 months. You got anything about Humphreys there, Ryan?
I need to see it. I'm excited to see it because if it's just like a maybe, I'm not so confident. So
yeah,
I need it in my hands. Close game shows
That's
how many ways
there for you, Chef Boy.
Excuse me. Close games show how many ways we can win. That's true, Tom. But I already know I don't need more visual evidence of it. I want nice 14-point wins every week until the playoffs, and then I want 21-point wins. That's what I want.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's all we want. It's not too much to ask from a team that's, back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
You and Thunderius have twin Vader tats now. Okay, I like it. I'm going to need to see that together at some point, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's go,
Thunderius.
Blondale at 9%. Yes, you got to love that. Omega does some good stuff. I am going to tell you. If you've never been there, make sure you go visit the brewery as well. It's a great time. Cody, increasing function and big playability on O. How would you do that?
I honestly think that they did a pretty good job yesterday, where Patrick Mahomes threw the ball more than 10 yards down the field, more than he has all season. So I think he had about 10 targets, if I'm not mistaken, 7 of 10 yesterday. So yeah, that's what they have to do. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit on Wednesday, some of the plays that they made in this game about going about doing that and executing it. One was taken off the board from negating penalties. Like the one to Juju Smith-Schuster just gets forgotten, but it was another one that was like a 20-yard completion, but it got taken off because of penalties. So just penalties and execution. Like that's what it is.
That's what it comes down to. And they can turn that around. Quentin, thank you. Another 36 months. The 3-year club is expanding rapidly,
It
folks. If you
is.
wanted the
That's awesome.
memberships, click join underneath Dan. You get all the extras. And I didn't get the notification. Do you think that the issue with Mahomes not taking the open throws, is it Pat or is it Andy's scheme? Also, what will it take for the Chiefs to give me a stress-free game? That's a great question, Quentin. What do you got, Dan?
I think a lot of this has to do with two sides of a coin, right? Everyone's screaming, throw the ball down the field, throw the ball down the field. And they're also saying, oh, throw to the open man. Well, the open man's 5 yards in front of me. Patrick's like, you guys want me to throw the ball down the field? They want to throw the ball down the field too. They want to. Patrick wants to. He wants to. He does not want to be in this Honda Civic. He doesn't want to.
No.
He doesn't want to do it. He wants to be in a Ferrari. He wants to throw the ball down the field. Like, that's what he wants.
Oh, that's Honda Civic or an Amazon van out on deliveries. That's what he's stuck. Oh, that is great, Daniel. That might be one of your best analogies ever. Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Adam. Nice to see you, buddy. Appreciate the support from up north. Why isn't Josh Uche getting more snaps? I think he only had 5 snaps 2 games ago. What are you guys seeing? 2 games ago, you might be right. He got 12 snaps and 11 pass rushes this week. And it's starting to tick up, but he is still learning the defense. And I think that is specifically a third down-ish role, or at least a passing situation role. I think that can expand. But with the Manny Hughes return, it may not expand a whole lot because you got to start penciling him in some as well. So the big thing is Josh has to be able to clamp down and go through players more, especially at the peak of the arc. When you come up, he's got this pass rush that goes up and then over. It's got to go over. You know what I mean? You got to round that sumbitch off more. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to get that rotation right. Honestly, I think Charles Menahue is going to spell inside and George Karlaftis more often than because George plays like everything. He does everything. He's always out there. He needs rest, in my opinion.
That's a very, very good point. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate you. Sorry, folks. We're going to speed through last call for super chats, and we'll get to them. And I'm going to be live on Locked On in a little bit because it's been a heck of a day, and I'm running very late. Jumped in to wish Rogue Nation a happy and peaceful Thanksgiving, especially for our veterans. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Brenda. It is wonderful to see you, and thank you for your 19 months.
Yes,
very much appreciate it. It is going to be a fun week for Thanksgiving. We wish the best to everyone, including you, Brenda. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you for the support, Mr. Pena. I need play action, Andy. If you're going to run the ball like this, then pair it with play action more. After DJ is the left tackle, though. And I think you nailed the question here, especially true play action where you're really selling and the quarterback turns his back to the defense. You got to be prepared on the O-line to do that.
You do, and a lot of it, we were seeing the Chiefs still run play action. Like they had 7 or 8 snaps yesterday of true play action plays. It's hard with the offensive line, the tackles. It creates better angles. And yesterday we saw Wanya Morris and Jawan Taylor struggle with the wideness of the speed rushes. They were wide. If you're doing play action against wide rushes, and your offensive tackles already struggle with that, you're putting Patrick in a situation where he's turning his back and then he's going to get hit.
Oh, and I'm not ready to watch that happen. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Beach got some decisions to make this coming year. You're absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
And there's going to be a number of them. And it may be a little bit more traumatic than we think. This is the all-in push. And I've been talking about this since the draft. Everything goes into trying to get this three-peat. Then decisions are going to have to be made. And we may see things have to get a little bit hectic. But we'll cross that bridge when it gets here. Where's Jaden Hicks? He flashed big in preseason. Made a couple of plays yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He had a nice run support rep. He came up in a zone once that I saw. Not a ton. Did I miss stuff, Dan?
Not really. He's not playing a ton, but they're also putting a lot on Shamari Connor's plate. And that's kind of right now that third safety role. They like to play dime and 4 safeties at times. That's when he comes on the field, when they play 4 safeties. So he's not a third safety right now. He's the 4th safety. So he doesn't play very much just in general because they like what they see from everyone else. I'm starting to get to the point where maybe a little bit less Shamari Connor, maybe a little bit less.
And maybe a little bit less role in the nickel. I mean,
agreed.
Yeah, I still like him in space. He was the highest graded DB yesterday, at least according to PFF. Only allowed one catch for 11 yards. So Hicks is putting in good reps. We'll see if he starts to get more here soon, Adam. Thank you for pointing it out, and thank you for the support, buddy. Options to shore off tackle before playoffs. They made their stab at it, and Mr. 45 months coming up on the 4-year mark, Kyle, and we appreciate you very much. Thank you, buddy. Old school around here. That DJ Humphrey signing, that is your play. That's what you have left.
Yep.
Cap space, everything else, you don't have much left. So unless there's something like somebody cuts Trent Williams, unless something crazy happens, that is your move.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's nothing else you can do.
Nah. Mike, nice to see you. Do you agree that the quick passes and the big yak to Rice covered up for the tackles playing poorly is the best way to beat pressure with the sacks? Yeah, Rashee Rice is an excellent hot route target because he can then take a 4-yard slant and take it to the house if you let him. So, yeah, covered it? No, that was part of the design as well, is what I would say, Dan.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's honestly, I don't know why we're not seeing more usage of DeAndre Hopkins in that role. I think he could learn it very quickly. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's a frustrating aspect that I think they could use more. But it does help get you into situations where ball's coming out quick.
I think Andy, when he closes his eyes, the thought of Hop getting beat up and having to miss a game because of the physicality of going inside like that, I think that's what scares him out of it, to tell you the truth.
So just throw him up in triple coverage where he has to jump and then get hit. Oh, that makes perfect sense, right?
Or you know what? You could 3-by-1 him and isolate his ass over there, and then you don't have to deal with the 3-man coverage,
That's
right?
What you can do too.
Hey, that's where I'd be going. Split back with Kareem and Isaiah. Thoughts?
Please and thank you.
Yes, over and over and over. And I want the full backfield with the fullback in between, because the number of things that you can do. I mean, you can run wide sweep with the second back as the carrier and have 2 lead blockers. They come and try to overshoot that. You go back, counter the other side and run weak. Yeah. You can run weak. Zone, as Dan has pointed out. You can start doing RPOs out of that formation. But there's a plethora of things. And it just takes a little bit of investment, and I think that's the problem. Thanks, Doug. Callie, nice to see you. I'm thinking of attending the game Friday. I had all losses last season. Do you think that this is a game that I can finally see a win? Brother, stay home. I'm just saying. Just stay home. You seem to be the magic, so I need you where you're comfortable and you see W's.
I'm gonna be the opposite here, Callie. Go enjoy it. Go have fun. Don't let Ryan make you believe that you are the sole reason that the Chiefs lost football games. Don't let him do it to you, man. Go enjoy the game.
Have a good time. I'm mostly kidding, except for that little rabbit's foot in the back of my pocket. So sorry. Appreciate you, Kelly.
I do say if they lose, you'll be hearing from my lawyers.
Tom, thank you, buddy. We're going to wrap it up here on this and the next one. I just heard we may get Brown back sooner than we thought. Well, if that's sooner than mid-December, then you're beating me, because that's what I thought from the beginning. What would the top starting wide receiver lineup look like in the playoffs? Who comes off the bench second string? It depends when Hollywood's in shape. But when he's into play shape, Dan, there's no way he doesn't start along with D-Hop and Juju, right?
I mean, with Xavier and
no.
Hopkins.
No.
Yeah.
No, you start with 3 guys that can beat zone right now today, and you bring Xavier as the home run hitter.
They're seeing more man coverage. I'm playing Worthy. I don't even mess with it. But that's me. That's my opinion. But yes, I think you rotate him in early. If he comes in earlier than later, when is the postseason time and he's got his legs under him, you play him. He's experienced, and you put the experienced players outside of Xavier Worthy out there on the field, because you want him opening up those spaces for Hollywood and for DeAndre Hopkins. No offense to Juju, he ain't doing that.
Yeah, fair enough. Micah, this is not the evergreen cloud, as you refer to. No, I have teenagers that practice on multiple teams each, and they're exposed to like 1,000 kids a week, and that's what ends up in my lungs every week. So apologies. Usually around this time I get something. So thanks for bearing with me. I appreciate it. And Thundarius, Casey lost all 3 games that I went to in person, twice to the Raiders, so I can't see them live anymore. They escort
we
you
all
to the
get that,
building
right?
now, yeah?
We all get that, right? Like I went to the first two Bills Chiefs games that they lost to them, and I went to both of them, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. But now it's just like I want them to lose in the regular season to the Bills every year. I want them to. Because guess what?
Yeah.
Every time they beat them in the postseason, they go to the Super Bowl. So yeah, bring it on.
It's like there's a pattern. Folks, thank you for being with us tonight. We very much appreciate all of your support and all of your time. Go enjoy Monday Night Football. I'm going to be live on Locked On in about 7 minutes, and we're going to get through a show there one way or the other, and I'm going to have to do some talking. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for sharing your Monday of a holiday week. And Daniel, I'm looking forward to seeing what you cook this week. Thank you, my friend.
We will see it all. Everyone will see it as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And please enjoy your guys' Thanksgiving. We'll have the game plan for you at some point. We're not entirely sure how that's going to work, but we'll definitely be there. Post game Friday, Black Friday. Don't get out there too crazy on Black Friday, guys. Don't be crazy. Just relax, okay? You can get everything you need online. You don't have to go to the store. You don't have to stand in line. Just relax.
It's going to be
have a good Black Friday.
Yes. Everyone have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow.